I can see that the time is waits on no man. Uh, I realize because I'm in Asia, and over here in Asia, they do not change the time. And I was having a conversation about maybe around 1 o'clock this morning here with my daughter, and she was telling me what time it was in Houston, where she is right now on spring break, at least in the Texas area. And I'm like, your time is wrong. She said, no, Daddy, your time is wrong. I said, no, baby. She says, well, we changed our time. I said, well, we don't change our time. She said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. What about you? You sure? Needless to say, I said, we going to find out. If I'm the only one on this Zoom, then I'll know that there's a problem with the time change. But guys, we're going to kick this call off. I'm excited that so many people have joined us and things are moving forward the way we have planned. Today, we're going to talk a little bit. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and mute us out. And I got to do one quick housekeeping for myself. Just bear with me 1 second. Here we go.
I see you.
Yeah, there we go.
You're muted.
Okay, here we go. So today's topic we're going to enjoy talking about a little bit is edification. And, it's amazing. People have, let me change my view because I kind of like looking at y'all. We got so many people that aren't hiding their faces today. I got so excited looking at people. Go ahead, Kim. You don't have to hide your clock. I can still see the bottom of your clock, and it's okay. But edification, guys, and I want to talk a little bit about what edification really is, and why it is so advantageous, though people don't seem to utilize it or understand it effectively. Let me go to speaker's view. Let me go and highlight spotlight mine. Okay, great. So here I am. I think that's a little bright there. As you can see, I'm in a different place, and I'm changing my view a little bit. Forgive me for the light over my shoulder, but it's bright and early here. It's 8 a.m. here in Asia. Anybody happy about that? Makes you feel like it's a whole new day in your world, right? But let's talk a little bit about edification. And I tell you why this really became a hot topic for me this week, because as I'm traveling and meeting and coaching people, I think the best example was when I was sitting in a group, maybe around 10 people. I had two examples of it, but this group I was with just yesterday had around 10 people that were from various different companies, and some of them were from companies we're familiar with, like Amway and Herbalife and various companies. And we were just having a generic conversation about network marketing. And I'm not sure that everyone who was assembled at the table knew my background. And I had to say something that I was a little uncomfortable with. And guys, please forgive me here, because I'm going to say something that I don't like to say. And I've been fortunate, I've been less than fortunate, that over the last few years, the environments that I've been in has made it so easy. Many of you may even notice or remember that we had a sheet that was produced by my office that would, prior to me arriving in a market, would pretty much clearly identify the things that needed to be notified or informed for guests and even new partners and the like, to really understand, so that the proper edification and expectation was being set. Okay. Now, there are some people who misunderstand. Well, they may think that the edification is so that the person, the expert, the speaker, the person who is bringing forth the information can feel great and have I don't know how you want to say it, maybe have a feel-good moment, okay? Does that make sense? Maybe, because it has everybody in the room or in that environment, that immediate environment, talking highly about them. But it's exactly the opposite. And this is where people seem to fail and miss the mark time and time and time and time and time again. When the edification is minimized, meaning we take a leader with experience and we just kind of refer to him as, hey, that guy, or hey, that dude. I'm just, for some of you in other countries, you may never even refer to somebody as that. But of course, in America, yeah, that guy, that dude, my friend, my buddy, he's a guy who's, coming to tell you about whatever. I mean, they may not understand the importance of setting the right tone, but it's an element of human nature. And every time that it's the failure to communicate the accomplishments and or the success level of the expert, and I know we talked about it on one of the last Zoom calls we did, but the lack of preparation, the lack of clarity of that only makes the job harder to communicate and to effectively bring forward what it is your message is. Now, yesterday, I sat and I listened, and please understand, there was a language barrier, okay? So that only compounded it. Can anybody just kind of nod their head and say, yeah, when there's a language barrier, it only compounds the dilemma? But when there's a language barrier and many of the people don't know who they're sitting in the midst of, for example, if I was sitting in the presence of a computer, let's use someone like Andreas Antonopoulos, okay? And many people may not know who Andreas Antonopoulos is, but and I think, Kelvin, I can see you. Hey, brother, good to see you, man. Just wave back at me, man. Wave at me, Kelvin. You may want to jot that name down, Andreas Antonopoulos. But when you understand that he is probably the most sought after authoritarian in the topic of blockchain technology and or cryptocurrency, but specifically Bitcoin. But when you take a look at it now, I may have, let me see what my screens look like. I may have the opportunity to bring up Mr. Andreas Antonopoulos, an image of him. But let's not be in any way condescending. Let's not be in any way offensive to anyone. Let's just cancel that. Let me just give me 1 second here. Okay, I can't find it, but maybe you can pull it up on your side. But Andreas Antonopoulos, and I got to take you back about 8 years, and if you remember why the slower than usual acceptance of the currency Bitcoin took place, you'll understand that it's because of the technology geeks, and let me just say it that way. He among so many other people, were technology geeks, and when you see him, he does not portray himself, or you cannot see it clearly, that not only is he one of the most brilliant minds in the world of cryptocurrency, but he holding lots of coins. Okay, he is holding lots of coins. And the coins that he's holding represents a significant value. Now, again, when you think about it, if you were sitting in the room with Andreas Antonopoulos and you just kind of see this guy sitting at the table, you'd be like, okay, who's he? And then when he begins to talk, and yes, though he will speak with authority, you'll still be like, okay, there you go. And is he in a suit? Don't show him in a suit. No. Because that's not what he typically shows up as. See, you went ahead and got the best view of Antonopoulos. That is, let's see what you look like. There you go. That's a good view of him. Very good. He's not in a swimsuit, is he? Come on, that's not a swimsuit you show me, right? Okay, usually he's in just a regular collared shirt, regular, collared shirt. And he's just regular guy. Usually gets on stage in front of thousands of people in some jeans. No, he does not get on wearing the finest suit or whatever. He's in some jeans, a shirt, a belt, some just kind of regular old shoes, just like them rich nerds. Excuse me, did I just say that? A lot of those rich nerds like to, affect themselves. He probably Now, Kelvin, you never look at him. You give it a thumbs down. Kelvin, don't start with me. You still haven't answered to me whether you're a black hat or a white hat. And if you haven't found out, go ahead and do some homework. But the mere fact that you cannot depict nor determine from just his initial appearance who he is, you might come and say, why do I got to listen to this guy? What's he talking about? You see, but it's the evidence of his success and his knowledge that makes him so powerful. So the people that are listening have to be mentally prepared, because we got to admit, and if there's anybody, y'all can chime in if you want. I don't know who's FaceTiming me, but we're going to stop the FaceTime. Okay, somebody trying to FaceTime me. Watch this. Somebody's trying to FaceTime me in the middle of my Zoom call. No, I'm not accepting it. I'll text them in a minute and say, no, I'm not taking your FaceTime. It's like, they probably didn't set their clocks either. They're thinking, oh, he's not on his call for another 45 minutes. But the mere fact that most people, their minds are prone to focus on the negative versus the positive. And most people will not be as open as a receptive until it's been clearly defined that the person they are sitting with is in fact an authority, is in fact documented, is in fact someone who is capable of bringing forth information and whose results speak for themselves. So does that help everybody understand? Y'all just smiling at me. Somebody smile back at me or wave your hand, throw your hands, whatever you want to do. Please just let me understand it. But I use Mr. Antonopoulos because he probably does not carry the appearance, and I think I've lost Kelvin for the whole session because he's really enamored by Mr. Antonopoulos. I can see you there, man. His resume is all of that. Trust me. I was watching on one of my flights this week about an hour and a half segment of him just talking, and yeah, it was highly technical, nerdy, blockchain detailed data, and I'm just sitting there enamored. I'm like, oh my God, wow. And I thought I knew a lot, but I'm like, whoa, I got to take my nerd quotient up to a whole nother level so that I can be ready. And the reality of it is, because the expertise that many people bring, when you recognize that there's a person or people that have a greater sense of accomplishment and or achievement, you've got to be prepared to say, wait a minute, let me yield so that I can learn what it is they have to say. And that's the same thing when exposing a business opportunity or even providing an opportunity for people to learn. So I'm sitting with these, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 people. I didn't bother to count. And of course, I'm the only one that looks like me, so they can always tell who I am. I got some pictures y'all can see. I can show y'all some pictures of me amongst these people. Yes, and I do stand head and shoulders above the majority of people. It's kind of awkward always being the tallest one in the room. It's also awkward being the tallest one on the plane, because when people got to step in their seats to try to reach the stuff in the cabin up above, and you just looking like, why y'all got to do that? Anyway, that's a whole other story. But, I stood out. So there should be some sort of, okay, well, maybe this guy is a little different. But what I could not understand is the constant banter back and forward with a degree of debating as to what it was I was saying, until I finally had to get a little bit strong with them and say, hold it, okay? Hold it, because maybe you didn't check the tape, okay? Somebody says, let me see if I can read that upside down, because it's in the group there. Some people matter. I'm sorry, I got my glasses on, but my glasses are fogged up. Elaine, I'm not picking on short people, okay? Okay, I just happen to not be one of them, all right? Sorry, just can't help it. It happened for me that way, okay? But I had to go there because I was like, time out. Guys, do you understand that what I'm saying is not open for debate? And let me tell you exactly what I was saying. You guys ready? You ready? You want to hear it? Come on, who wants to hear it? Let me look at the gallery and see who wants to hear it. Anybody there wants to hear what it was I was saying that these here folks were debating? You want to hear what I was saying? Let me go. This is what I did after I was sick and tired of, like, are you guys serious? You guys don't get it. First of all, they didn't know who John C. Maxwell was. Okay. Look at Kim. Kim's like, really? They didn't know who John C. Maxwell was. And then, let me see where I am here. And then they didn't understand this phrase. So I finally had to go, and I was real tricky about it, okay? Y'all want to see how tricky I got? All right, we're going to have a little fun this morning. We got a little tricky. Bear with me a second. Okay, I'm back. All right, and I didn't want to do this, but somebody say he had to go there. Somebody type in there, he had to go there. Somebody type it in, he had to go there. You see, I'm far away from home, so sometimes it... No, I didn't have to tell him about T. Harv. I just stayed with my man here, John Maxwell. But I gave him this after. You see, what I did is that I got pretty tricky about it, okay? Because I was getting a little, he had to go there. Thank you, Rosa. He had to go there. You see, because the edification, while they were glad to be in the room and happy to meet a stranger, a foreigner, someone who they heard had some expertise, they had not fully developed the level of edification that was necessary for them to sit tight and listen to what I was about to say. So anyway, so I said what I said, and they weren't getting it. And then I said, okay, I reached in my bag, and I said, with these exact words, I said, now don't pay attention to who's on the cover here. Don't pay attention. That doesn't matter here. I said, but don't pay attention to who's on the cover here. But that don't matter. But as you'll notice on the inside here, you'll have John C. Maxwell, renowned, noted author, on the topic, he liked that one, on the topic of leadership. And as you can see, he has 15 laws for growth. And it says, learn to apply them to your business. And I didn't bother to talk about the law of intentionality and the law of, I didn't do all that. I didn't do all that because that's not what I wanted to let them understand. What I wanted them to understand was that here is a guy who is saying something, but let me tell you what he was saying. Forget about who's on the cover here. So I said, forget about who's on the cover, and I put it down, face down, so ain't nobody gonna look at it. I said, but here's what he has to say. He said, everything, can I read it? Everything rises and falls on what? Leadership. You see, what I had to help them understand, and let me go back to the speaker view, because what they didn't understand was that some of the missing elements in their experience of the MLM industry, the reason many have had moderate success, or the reason many have had to jump and start and restart, whatever, they did not understand that there were some missing components. And they were trying to get me to say something that I really couldn't say, but I said it, which was most important. There's a copy here for everybody, okay? Just send your self-addressed stamp envelope to, nah, kidding. Is that how they do it on TV? Anyway, so the point I'm making is I had to let them know everything revolves around leadership, but the lack of the leadership and or the awareness of it was what was missing in their regular experience as network marketers. And though they had a moderate degree of success, you still, and listen to this one, this is the one you want to quote, okay? You still don't know what you don't know. Does that make sense? You don't know what you don't know. Does everyone realize? Okay, there's something in your brain right now that you know. Can everyone, let me go back to the gallery. Can we just get everybody? Oh no, you're gonna stop. I'm not taking your call. Wow. No, the ring was on. The ring was on. It was on. You know, how you gonna miss it? What did I have to knock it on the table? Drop it on the table? Did I have to do that? No, I didn't have to do that. It's on, okay? You know, it's the first time that I'm wearing this in Asia, because most of them know, but I just thought I would put it on. But here's the thing. It's what you don't know. And many people that are on the call right now, they know what they know. Is that okay? And I don't want to point you out, but there's some of you that have expertise in areas that I don't. Come on, somebody. Okay? There are people that are on this line that I rely on intensively for things that are beyond my area of expertise. Wink, wink, hint, hint. That I put my faith and trust and rely upon their expertise for things that I need. Why? Because I am not a professional. Somebody answer Elaine. I play. Somebody answer, Elaine. I don't know which one of y'all want to be first to answer. I see people leaning forward with their keyboards. Y'all go ahead and answer, Elaine. Yes, yes. Why? No, I did not play. Come on, Maria, stop playing. But what I'm saying is each and every person has an area of expertise. And as I like to say, stay in your lane. Because when you have that expertise, that's yours. When someone else has an expertise, that's theirs. So what I've learned and been very successful and effective is I stay in my lane. I know it's mine. I know what I know, and I've perfected what I know, which is why the edification is only what? Appropriate. Does that make sense? And I don't want to pick on any one person because there are a lot of you with some real great skills. But I have another friend who really was the mastermind. It only took 4 years to stimulate me to actually take on this mindset to make a transformation in my overall lifestyle, eating habits, physical fitness habits, blah, 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 all of that. It only took 4 years to become, but that person's area of expertise, I didn't argue. When that person said blah, 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 I didn't say, but you, I didn't say that. I said, yes, yes, yes. Now, I may not have done it. Come on now. Somebody needs to, see, I'm trying to teach you here. While I was yielding to that person's expertise, come on, somebody now. Let me get out of this view because I'm looking at a lot of y'all and I see deer in headlights. Let me get out of this view. But while I may not have done what they told me to do, I yielded to that person's expertise. Can somebody, if you can't say amen, go ahead and say ouch, because that's just the way it is. And when you have that scenario and you know that person has that expertise, you must edify them because it takes away all the debate and all the discussion. So if I want to eat like a fool, and if I want to act like a fool and do all kind of things and wonder why, I can't transform my physical appearance, then duh, that's on me. If I want to, not read, if I want to not become a student of the industry of network marketing, relationship marketing, and direct sales, I call it the greatest industry in the world. That's just how I call it because I've seen so many things happen. But if you're not prepared to become a student, then anything is possible that can happen. And then whatever happens is just what you're subject to be. So one thing you cannot, and let me go back because I need to see. I see some people, don't hide your camera. Don't hide your camera now. Don't turn your camera off because I'm about to say this. I've dedicated 35 years and I had to tell them that. In their language, I had to tell them it was ba, lam, nam, or if you want to be very correct, some of y'all are going to want to try to translate this and go to Google. It's ba, moi, lam, nam, years, that's what it says, 35 years, ba, moi, nam, lam, in the network industry, network marketing industry. And if I've done that and I've become a student of it and I've made sure that I've studied and studied and studied, how are you going to sit there and argue with me? I'm not going to entertain that. It just don't make no sense. And there's the documented success that has come with it. Why are we going to do that? So I had to tell them that, please stop, because that's where it breaks down. So the worst thing that should be done is the leader, you ready? Leader having to go there. Does everyone understand it? That is the worst thing. I should never have had to go there. That's like me being, some of y'all know, my alter ego. I'm actually Bruce Wayne. If you want to look, and I think I should start signing in as that. Forget that Edward Hartley thing. I just need to sign in as Dark Knight. Some of y'all know when you look for Dark Knight, that's me. Okay, I drive a Batmobile. I'm a lone warrior, just like Batman. But that's like Bruce Wayne sitting in a room and having to tell y'all, hey, listen, folks. The crime in Gotham City has gotten out of hand. And, though I'm the richest man in the city, I'm about to go ahead and show y'all who I am. Come on now. Come on, Kim. You understand what I'm saying? Don't make me have to tell you that when y'all go to sleep that I'm the guy watching out and making sure that that Gotham City is well taken care of, and that the Joker and the Riddler and the Penguin and who else we got there? Kelvin, you remember anybody else? Who else is in there? Who, Kim? Come on. Because, I beat them all. I can't remember all of them that I defeated. But I shouldn't have to go there and let everybody know. So what happens is, unfortunately, the neophyte, that means the brand new person in the industry, doesn't know what they don't know. They don't know that in order to get the attention of the person on the other side of the table, or on the other end of the phone, or on the other end of the three-way. Remember last week we had some people asking about the three-way, but the importance is not the fact that the person showed up. You want the answer? Not that that expert showed up. It's that you prepped the minds of the people who showed up to hear the expert and be open to receive it. Now watch. This is where it becomes almost instantaneously. Now, let me let y'all in, okay? I will let you in on a secret. The Night Owl, the 4 stages of relationships, that segment, if you haven't heard it, please go listen to it. It was born and inspired by a young lady. I'll never forget, she was a leader of my team, and she had the knack. I never knew how she was able to put me in front of such incredibly powerful men. Okay, so she was good looking. Okay, yeah, she had that. She had some looks. But man, she could put me in front of some powerful men, some of the most powerful men in Atlanta, which is where she lived. She could set up meetings, have them people sitting there ready to hear me when I showed up. Now, if you remember the 4 stages of relationships, as someone who wants to show that they're a good student, go ahead and don't put in all 4, because I want you to play like your teacher's pet. Put in at least 1. Go ahead, somebody go ahead and put in at least 1. 4 stages of the relationship. So you first got to have 1. What's the first stage of the relationship? Someone who doesn't know, it's okay. Just watch the screen. Teleprompter will show up. It'll flash across the screen momentarily. Somebody's typing. Go ahead, type there, type. Okay, the connection. The connection. That's it. There has to be something mutual. The mutual, okay, that's something in common. So if you understand, her ability to get those powerful men there was based on her connection of them to me, because I was a powerful man, they were powerful men, and boom, here we were. Second stage, please. There you go. Mutual. Somebody playing teacher's pet. Thank you. Mutual respect. Thank you. Somebody playing teacher's pet. Don't answer more than once. Don't answer more than one. Thank you. So the mutual respect. The mutual respect. So after the connection, there had to be the connection. Okay. And immediately what happens in the minds and the hearts of people that are successful is they are looking for that connection. And if they are looking to avoid a connection, they will avoid having that symbiotic type of interaction. What I'm saying to you is, if that person does everything to block a connection, it's because they don't want to allow the next stages to take place. Everyone understand that? And you should recognize that. If they're blocking it, it's because they themselves don't want to let anybody in. You get that? So what I'm always doing is watching. I'm watching body language. I'm watching, all that. So once the connection is established, then you go forth and you create the mutual respect. Okay? The mutual respect. After the mutual respect is established, what's next? Okay, so, somebody, go ahead, somebody, because it's just going to show who. Oh, go ahead. Somebody start typing. Ah, yes, the acceptance. Teacher's pet. Go ahead. Somebody's playing teacher's pet. Acceptance. And acceptance has 2 stages, 2 phases of acceptance. First, them accepting you for who you are and what you do, and then them accepting themselves and seeing themselves in what you are and what you do. Those 2 are the areas of acceptance. When those are lacking, then you can never get to the 4th stage, which is let's do business. Okay. And guys, let me tell you something. Watch this. Someone inboxed me today and said that if you're not having the degree of success that you're looking for, something's obviously missing. And I'm trying to tell you, there is always something missing. And it is incumbent upon you, because you don't know what you don't know, to keep learning what you need to learn and examining the results of what is occurring based on what you're learning. So if you're not learning and growing, then you cannot truly measure and expect to see new results. Because the definition of insanity is what? Doing the exact same things and expecting different results. Am I right? So what I'm trying to say is, this individual inspired me to do that segment and that training because I realized that there were some shortcuts being taken. And I don't want to quote from you what I told a CEO. There's a CEO that I'm doing some consulting work for over here in Asia, and I had to go in on him and let him know. I'm like, dude, you taking some shortcuts and making some rookie mistakes, some amateur mistakes while you're doing what you're doing, and it's going to result in something devastating for your company. Now, if you want to fix it, if you want to change it, I mean, that's why you're paying to have a forensic accountant look at your business and look at your methods, your policies, your procedures, your systems, your controls. That's why you're paying me. So don't expect me to not tell you when I'm seeing you making rookie mistakes. So the good news, and some of y'all know I like to occasionally go in, I got to go in on him yesterday. And guess what he got to do? Smile and take it. Because guess what? He's paying me for that. Okay? So understand, you cannot expect to make those rookie mistakes and have the same results as a professional. So when you're a brand new person and you're understanding, okay, edification. What does edification sound like? And I had to say this to a group last night. I did another training session for a group in Europe yesterday, and I had to let them understand. I said, guys, when edification is being given, it is not you surrendering who you are. It is not you giving up control of your degree of respect or your degree of prestige. It's not that. It's not you giving direct access to your network and turning it over. There are people, and listen to what I'm trying to say to you. There are people who won't properly edify a leader or an upline or executive or a expert because they are afraid that edifying that other person, stay with me now, edifying another person will make them look less than. Everyone get that? Okay, I can't tell if the head nods this way mean you don't get that, or if you say, no, that ain't the case. If you're nodding your head like that, that means I don't get that. But if you say, no, that's not the case, then let me know that. Because see, that's the whole thing. It amazes me that even top leaders that have had success, they're afraid to edify other top leaders that could bring value and information to their people because they're concerned that by giving that respect would diminish their own. Nothing further from the truth. And let's take a few minutes and let me tell you a story about how I made my first $1 million. This is a story of how I made my first $1 million. How about that? Everyone okay with that one? I just put it in the group in case you weren't sure what I was saying. This is a story of how I made my first $1 million. In the interest of time, I can't tell you every detail, but I will say this to you, that I had already been in the industry over 25 years before I had made my first, make sure I said it, how I made my first $1 million. I had been in the industry already 25 years. Now, somebody's probably saying, oh, poor guy, he'd been in the industry that long, hadn't made any real money. No, I made money, but not $1 million. But what's cool now is after 35 years, if you aggregate the money I've made, it still surpasses what the average person in network marketing made. But what I'm trying to do is to prevent you from having to spend 25 years to make your first $1 million. Okay? All right, let me kind of help it this way. I should never have to say this because, when people ask me about the ring, Elaine, thank you for bringing it up. I don't know who brought it up, but no, it was you, Maria. But people ask me about the ring. I don't wear this for me. Honestly, I don't like wearing this. I wear this for other people, for the edification. And when people ask me about it, the first thing I do is take it off and drop it. Did you hear me drop it? Anyone hear me drop it? Did anyone hear it? You heard it? Ooh. What I always like to say is, these ain't zirconia. This didn't come out of a Cracker Jacks box. And then when I pass it, and what's interesting is that, no matter how many languages you speak, how many countries you go to, when you give it to them and you start to see the numbers right there. See, tell me if you can see it. You see that right there? I had to tell them because you know how much 500,000 Vietnam dong is? Can I tell y'all? Let me just take that out. Can I tell you? Because someone in Vietnam might think that that's 500,000. Oh, you make 500,000 dong. Oh, 500,000 dong. No. 500,000 dong is $25. So I was telling someone that I had a dinner meeting, had about 14 people. And man, if you didn't know that in Vietnam, people can drink some beer. Oh my God, they can drink some beer. So we had dinner for a bunch of people, about 30 beers, 14 people, 30 beers, food like you can't imagine, just nonstop food. Bill came up to 2.8 million. I said, I got that. I'll take care of that. Somebody was like, oh, you big spender. Yeah, I got that. Let me tell you, that was how much. That was how much it was. US dollars. 2.8 million. So four servers. Okay. So the lead server, man, he pulled me aside. Hey, listen. You know, hey, listen, you know, if you can, you know, take care of us. I said, oh, you know, maybe you give us 200,000. I said, okay, 200,000. So I paid the bill, and then I peeled off 200,000, handed it to him. Man, he got, wow! I became the man. Man, people were coming from outside to take pictures with me, and so they're like, oh my God. 200,000. Dom. Vietnam dom. So people want to know, well, how much is that? How about that? I became the man. Tipped 4 people, 200,000 dom, and man, I got pictures of them. Man, they came out the woodwork. Man, they wanted to be around me. They're like, oh my God, we love you. They started following me on social media. They still sending me messages because I tipped them. Watch this. Y'all got to see this. This is cool. Watch. This is me and them. Look at them. They excited. Woo! They happy. I gave them 200,000. I'm saying, Lord have mercy. In Atlanta, that's what we tip the guy who brings the car up. You know what I'm saying? The valet guy. Yeah, some of y'all are like, yeah, I know. But if you understand, I had to let them know this is not 200,000 dong. And then I immediately take them to this because they have to see this. We didn't buy this off the street because, you know, there's a lot of fake stuff. Anybody can read this backwards? Can you read that backwards? What does it say? Let me come closer. It's blurry. I know it's a little blurry. How's that? What does it say? I can read it because I got my glasses on. It starts with an H, ends with a Y. Y'all figure out what's in between. Okay? But it don't stop there. It don't get good. It don't get good there. It gets gooder. Because then I flip it to the other side. And this is why I wear it. Here's when it gets real good. See what it says? Has a date. Remember, we talked about the 6 steps for achieving goals? And you got to put a date on it. There's my date. Here, I'll write it for you. 500,000 USD in 2011. So if you hadn't made your first $500,000 in 2011, and then I also make sure they're like, ooh, wow. I say, that's $5 million ago. I don't measure time. I measure dollars. Thank you, Kim. That's right. Because people be mistakenly no. It was anything between $500,000 and $1 shy of 1 million. So somewhere in between there, y'all figure it out. So come on now, if you think about the statistics of the network marketing industry and what people make and what people have made and what, you know, the people you know have made, you got to stop and say, wait a minute. If I made that 6 years ago and then we had a flourishing career the year after and 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 the year after, and even today, we still have a flourishing career, then you got to stop and say, well, dang, you have probably out-earned 95% of the network marketing population, right? So why is it not 19.9? Kim, you sure? Kim just signaled to me. 99%. I was trying to be very courteous. And she's absolutely right, because let me tell you, the top 5% are probably earning somewhere from about 50, maybe anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 a month, all the way up to what you see right now. People only emphasize the top 10, and while that is not a bad thing, but it sometimes does have some misgivings and puts people in a mindset where like, I'll never achieve that. But what I also told you at the top of this particular segment of my discussion was that I started for 25 years not making my first $1 million. So I made my first $1 million by 2012. Okay. And then we started making millions of dollars since then. Is there a reason that I have to now come and sit and have to now explain to somebody how we make $1 million? No. Okay. That's like asking Michael Phelps, how do you win a race? A swimming race. Yes. That's like asking Usain Bolt, how do you win? No, what you're telling me about coming out the blocks and what you're telling me about the last, a few meters of the race. You know what I'm saying? When I was really developing my training modules, I went to someone who was a team leader, and I asked him because he was a track star, and he was a track star in the, I think he was in the 1600s. He was running the 1600, and what I wanted to understand is what the mindset needed to be, the physiological element plus the mindset needed to be to run the 1600. You know why it's important to run to run the 1600? Because you got to go around that track 4 times. I mean, a lot of us might be able to make it around that first go round, yes or yes? And then by the time you get around that second go round, my daughter hated the 400. Okay, she hated the 400. She hated it. Okay, but by the time you go around that thing, am I right? Is it once around is 400? Whatever it is, it's a long way. But the mindset, once you get around that third time and the body starts to, feel a certain way and the mind starts saying, oh my God, that's when you have to stop and say, I got to tap into something. So why we're talking about edification is because when you lack what you lack, you then have to go and resource it, pull it from some resource from somewhere else so that you can now energize. Because remember, you might not have it. You may have to tap into someone else that has it. Does that make sense? So when I look back, how was I able to make my first $1 million? It was very simple. I got out the way, shut up, and I leaned on a man who had made well over $250,000 a month. And he was teaching me while teaching my sponsor how we were going to make our first $1 million. The reason I talk about my mentor, not to discredit my sponsor, but at the time my sponsor sponsored me, he had not made his first $1 million yet either. We were making our first $1 million together at the same time, learning from the same person. So I had to surrender my will to secure my wealth. Y'all heard that one before. You've seen the video. The video's out there. If you haven't seen the video, go to YouTube, type in Edward Hartley, surrender your will, and listen. 5 minutes can change your life. Because I had to say, with all the years of my experience in business, all the years of experience in finance, all of the credibility, the respect as a father of 4 daughters, 2 of which had already graduated and been out of school and living their lives and blah, 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 blah. I had already had some success. I wasn't new to success, but I was now searching for my first $1 million in what? Network marketing. How many of y'all, just by a show of hands, and I left the screen up, I was enjoying looking at y'all. Let me come back. How many of y'all would love to be able to add that to your resume? Let me go back to the screen. I had to just change it up a little bit. Okay, how many would like to add to your resume? Add to your resume. I've made $1 million in network marketing. See, I want you to go back to this. Watch. Isn't that pretty cool? And okay, here it is. Here it is where I typed it. This is a story of how I made my first $1 million. Wouldn't you like to have that on your resume? Please tell me come on, raise your hand, tell me. I would like to have that on my resume. This is a story of how I made my first $1 million in network marketing, because there's a lot of people who are not prepared to do whatever it takes to make that happen. But what I chose to do at that particular time was, it ain't about me. So the edification had to be the one thing that I was good at, because you know what I found out back then? You want to hear something? And this is just really to free somebody. This is to free somebody. And I'm not going to pick on anybody, because you can just resemble the remark any which way you want to. But I had already mastered the art of self-sabotage. Come on, somebody write that in for me. Self-sabotage. I had mastered that. I had mastered the art of self-sabotage. Well, what is the art of self-sabotage? That means that somewhere along the line, I was going to put my foot in it. Okay? Somewhere along the line, I was going to put my foot in it and mess it up. I think somebody wrote it down. Yeah. Somebody wrote it for me. I had already mastered, by the time I met my mentor, I was a master of self-sabotage. And self-sabotage was taking place with the discussions in between my ears. These 6 inches between left ear, right ear were the most dangerous place that I could exist in, because that was the place that self-sabotage was being elevated. It was being heightened. So what I said to myself was, well, daggone it, I'd already mastered that. That one was definitely, I had that skill set down to a T. If y'all think you good at something, I was good at that one. And guess what? You know what? You want to hear something? People didn't even realize it. Man, I was so good at it, you couldn't even see me self-sabotage. Okay? How many guys remember Liar, Liar? Anybody remember the movie with Jim Carrey, Liar, Liar? And when he couldn't stop lying, he would take his head and start banging it into. See, I was doing self-sabotage that didn't look like that. I was well-dressed, well-spoken, self-sabotaging. Hello? Anybody know somebody like that? Let me go to the view. Let me go to the view. Let me go to the view. Anybody know somebody like that? Well-dressed, well-spoken, still self-sabotaging. I think Elaine just wrote something that there was a person who said that they want to pay $1,100 to learn something because he did not want to see them get rich. Oh my God, that ain't about you, Elaine. Where are you, Elaine? Come on, let me see your face, Elaine. But that's not about you. That's about them. They self-sabotaging, but they're using you as the excuse. Hello, somebody. Come on. I'm just going to breeze through these next 9 minutes, because you see, the reality is it wasn't about you. It was them. And they said, well, I'm not going to want to see Elaine get rich, but it's about them. They too daggone scared, because if they put themselves out there, because you see, when I accepted the responsibility of being led by my mentor, I knew one thing was going to happen, that no longer, it's going to get good. Y'all ready? Buckle up. Tighten your seatbelt. Tighten it. I ain't seen nobody tighten the seatbelt. Come on. Tighten it. It's going to get good, Kelvin. Once you have a perfected mentor, you got no excuse. Neighbor in the room next door, like, what's going on over there? You see, when it's just you, and you operating on your own, your own understanding. I had to go there because, it's still Sunday for y'all. Y'all are leaning on your own understanding. When you're by yourself, hey. But when you have a perfected mentor who has done it time and time and time again, and you rolling up in the spot, they're like, well, what's wrong with you? You see, most people ain't prepared to put themselves out there. So I knew that when I engaged with my mentor, he was already making $250,000 a month. I'm like, okay, well, guess what? I'm going to have to, listen, I'm going to get some real ugly colloquialism. I'm going to have to get good. Somebody say, oh, his grammar's so bad today. I'd rather be able to say, I is rich, than have the proper grammar to say, I am poor. I am without financial resources. I ain't got no money. Oh, I'm just getting ready. I got a meeting in about an hour. And Lord, it's going to be interesting because I still, I keep trying to tell them, y'all going to have to slow down, talk Vietnamese slowly so I can interpret. I'm about 1.5 minutes behind you. That means that after you have spoken, I'm playing it back for about 1.5 minutes before it's like, oh yeah, I understand that. So it's like a time delay. It's like a video time delay. Everybody starts laughing at about 1.5 minutes later. I'm like, because I understand. I told you there's a challenge when it has a language barrier. But see, when you got that challenge, the last thing I should be dealing with is having to tell you who I am. So to finish up that story about the girl, I'm going to give you back 2 stories, then we're out of here today. First, the story of the young woman. The reason I did the video, the training segment, and Kim and a few other people, I think Maria may remember, I went to 3 very distinct cities, and I did that exact same training in 3 cities live. It started at midnight, ran till 3 in the morning because they needed to hear it, and I needed to make sure it was at a time that they had to force themselves to stay awake, because you ain't gonna sleep in my segment, you ain't gonna sleep in my session. So between 12 in the morning and 3 in the morning, you're gonna listen to me teach that 4 stages of relationships. But that young lady was not good at it, and she was not willing to grow. She was the reason. She didn't know what she didn't know, and she was breaking down, and her edification was good enough to get them through the door, but it was not good enough to let them get to the next stages. Everyone understand that? So as a result, she could never close the loop. And I'm not saying close the client or close the prospect. She can never close the loop. You see, because, and this is the other part I wanted to close the story out with, and you'll understand where I'm going. So you remember this magazine was, I remember I put it face down on the table. So now I've, we've gone through the dynamics and, talking and whatever, and I still have it there on the table. And then someone, says, Mr. Edward, may I have one of those magazines? And I looked over and I said, no. I said it in Vietnamese. No, come. No. They knew. No, come. No. No, I'm not giving it to you. Oh, all of a sudden, now you want to know who I am? You should have known who I was before you walked in the room. Should have taken the time. But now you want to know. I actually did give him the magazine because, I'm a nice guy. He even signed it. And I wrote, and I should probably show you, I write in Vietnamese too. So I wrote my message to them in Vietnamese, which is totally a mind blower for them. Totally a mind blower. But you see, had the person simply gone through the edification process, my energy level in which to help the folks understand what I was saying, which was nothing more than John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell said it. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you have a leader and you're working closely with a leader, ease the burden of your efforts daily by using the edification process. A few weeks ago, I taught you that you needed to have a 30-second elevator pitch. Does everyone still have one? Okay. That was I see a couple of heads nodding. I wasn't sure if it was this kind of nod or kind of. Does that mean yes or no? Do you have a 30-second elevator pitch? You better have a 30-second elevator pitch, and you better be practicing it. That means that when you step in an elevator, when you meet somebody, in 30 seconds, tell them what you do. And it should be in such a way where you're not coming across like, oh my God, let me get away from this person. It should be 30 seconds that tells them who, what, and why. Who you are, what you do, and why they should stay in touch with you. Do you have one yet? Don't hide, don't hide, don't hide, don't hide. Somebody's hiding. Don't stay in front of your screen and hide. You should have a 30-second elevator pitch. Then you should have a 5-minute testimonial. But what you should also have is somewhere in between, a 1 to 2 minute edification of your leadership. Not just one person that you like to talk to, but every person in your leadership. I'm glad to see some pens are moving. All righty, all righty, all righty. Because if you're not able to tell an effective story in 1 to 2 minutes. Now, if you're telling it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it's way too long, because you could have been doing it prior to the session or the setting where you're now having the discussion. But there should be that proper edification where the people in the room know exactly who it is. Because remember, the expert is at a slight disadvantage as well. They don't know who they're talking to either, right? Which goes totally against the grain of the 4 stages of relationships. So when I was going through that little exercise, there was a guy in the room, and I don't know who he was, but let me tell you, if he was in Brooklyn, if we was in the United States, I'd have reached across that table. It was probably, it had to be about a 6-foot square table. Means my arms couldn't reach across, but I'd have found a way to reach across and pull him across, say, who you think you looking at like that? Looking at me, like, anyway, but that was just me. That was a little bit of the Brooklyn coming out. I had to let him know there's a little bit of Brooklyn. So I actually said it in English. I said, who is he? Just like that. Who is he? This one right here. I said, because he got a lot to say. but I ain't hearing what he's saying about me. Who is he? Now, what was cool, and I didn't understand it at the moment, that a lot of the back and forth was everyone attacking him. Because I was looking at it like, who are you? Dude, where your ring at? Dude, where your magazine at? Dude, but you got a lot, blah, 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 blah. You see, that's what happens when the proper edification ain't there. I'm looking at him like, seriously? Man, I've probably been in this industry longer than you've been alive. What you coming in here going to have something to say to me? Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I got to take my Brooklyn down. Woo, sigh. Woo, sigh. But they could have avoided that simply by saying, hey, let me let you know. Now, what was really cool is I saw it happen the day before, and the leader was very effective. And I did not understand what she was saying because she was speaking so fast. You know, by the time, and she was talking long, but she had this up in her hand. She was flipping through the pages and going through and blah, blah, blah and everything. And I'm like, go on, girl. I'm saying, go on, girl. Do your thing. Keep on talking. Because I could tell edification. And you could always tell because the people, see, once you get good in this industry, you can look at a person and tell when there's a barrier. And you can tell when there's a connection. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? When you learn to understand and develop your people skills, you can tell when barriers are being broken down or when the barrier is established or you understand when the barriers are being broken down and there's a connection, you can tell. And if you can't tell after you've edified and shut up, then your leader can tell you what they've observed. That is when it gets pretty doggone good. Well, guys, I want to thank you for your time. I know, and as you can see, people are dialing in now, thinking that the call is now. It was an hour ago because in U.S. time, the clocks changed. But guess what? This week, and I'm so sorry, I haven't done the playback of last week. But I will do the playback of this week because I know a bunch of people. I didn't say that before, but I knew a lot of people would dial in at the wrong time because the time changed in the United States. Okay, so. By the way, and that's why for some of you, I don't know if people spread it, but I did put a 30-minute reminder into the main group so that people would know that the time has changed. Okay. But I want to thank each and every one of you that took the time. It was kind of a fun session. Did y'all enjoy a little bit of today? Was I a little bit animated today? Andrew's like, yeah, he was animated. Yeah, I was animated, okay? Because this is real life stuff, and I'm trying to help you avoid the 25 years of trying to figure this thing out. Because if I had understood what I know now and what people miss, and I see it happen each and every day, even when people make money, they fail to properly edify the leader and how when they get out the way. My mentor made me more money because I shut up and spoke about him. All I talked about was him. It daggone sure didn't matter what I had to say about me, because what people thought about me did not matter at that point. It's what they thought about the speaker. And the speaker was able to communicate articulately what needed to be said once they understood who he was and what he had done. So, to close out the loop, I gave this magazine to 3 people that were there. And obviously not the dude I wanted to wring his neck. Man, go and get out of here. You ain't getting that. Okay. I gave the magazine to quite a number of people, 3 of them very specifically. And here's what I told them. They don't think I asked them because it's in English. That means they got to go figure out how to translate it and understand it. And I said, the next time you see me, I want you to do one very important thing. Tell me something that you learned about me from this magazine. Because it's one thing to have the magazine. Let's see if I can find myself. It's one thing to have the magazine, but if you don't read it and understand, you won't understand the proper edification. You won't, where am I? I keep jumping ahead. Okay? You won't understand the proper edification. There's a reason they put that last picture. Some of y'all may not have ever seen that. There's a reason they put that last picture in there. Okay? People that I've coached and mentored, people that I have shared information with. Make your job easier. Ride on the coattails of other people's success. A lot of leadership out here. Don't try to do it alone. It is not yours to do again. So the story of how I made my first $1 million is what it is. Does everyone remember it? I shut up, got out the way, and let my edification of my leader, my mentor, do all the work for me. And even in the midst of that, some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? All right, guys. Thanks so much for being on the call. Yes, Kim, show your clock. Show your clock. Tip your, okay. You see, that's what a lot of people mistakenly thought, that it's still 9 o'clock now on the East Coast. It's actually 10 o'clock because the time has changed. So we'll be back here again. Don't know where I'll be. I'm not sure where I'll be, but I'll be here at the right time. Because if not, my daughter's going to make sure, Daddy, you on your, wherever you are, you got to make sure that you are on point to be where you're supposed to be. Guys, have a great day. Appreciate you so much. God bless, and we'll see you on our next call.